Congratulations to the graduating class of 2022. You completed your program of study and graduated at a very difficult time in history, a time we will all remember for years to come. I want you to know that all of us at Douglas College are very proud of your accomplishments. We may not be able to celebrate with you the way we normally would, but I hope that each of you will commemorate your graduation in a way that's meaningful to you, because your achievements deserve recognition. I've been with Douglas College for 28 years, and I've heard the stories of hundreds of graduates. In the moments leading up to graduation, they frequently reflect on the tough times they faced during their education. These memories are usually quite personal, but they have the common theme of overcoming a challenge and growing as a person. I'm sure that studying during a pandemic will be part of many of your personal stories, but I hope that you'll also look back on your time at Douglas with fondness for the people you met, the faculty who helped you, and the moments when you saw your future self doing what you set out to do, knowing your goal was in reach. I'm sorry that I'll miss the opportunity to hear your stories and to congratulate you personally. Nonetheless, I'm grateful for the opportunity to address you and to confer upon each of you the credentials you have earned with this very formal statement. As president of Douglas College, and by virtue of the authority granted to me by the Government of British Columbia, I hereby confer upon all those candidates presented to me in absentia and listed in the graduation program the respective credentials they have earned. Best wishes for your future success, and congratulations to you all.
OCM, OCM. I am pleased to bring greetings to the Douglas College faculty, staff, and especially to the graduates of 2022. My name is Rhonda Larrabee, Chief of the Qayqayt First Nation. We are recognized by all levels of government as the new Westminster Indian Band, number 566. My ancestral name is Zymamot, named after my maternal great-grandfather. On behalf of my ancestors, it is my pleasure to raise my hands and welcome you to the unceded traditional territory of Qayqayt First Nation. Qayqayt in our language means resting place, and we are often referred to as the river people. Our village was on the banks of the Fraser River, as were many others from Yale down to the sea. For thousands of years, we fished, hunted, gathered berries, medicines, and traveled by canoe to other villages. Fishing season attracted 2,000 to 3,000 people from upriver, Vancouver Island and the US, to the meeting place here in New Westminster. We would fish, feast, and socialize, a simple, wholesome life. When the settlers came, we helped them with clothing, food, waterproof baskets, utensils, tools, and transportation. COVID-19, the heat dome, wildfires, and the atmospheric rivers have been devastating for many British Columbians since early 2020. Our family has been deeply affected by the discovery of the remains of the 215 children found on the grounds of the Kamloops Indian Residential School. My mom, Marie, and other family members were forced to attend that institution in the 1930s for many years. The one and only time that my mom told me her story, it was clear the memories were very painful, and I felt terrible to see her so distressed and crying. She no longer spoke our language and was taught to be ashamed that she was an Aboriginal woman. My years of researching, talking to elders, and learning about the village of Qayqayt was my way of connecting to Mom, her family, and the village that almost became extinct. Qayqayt First Nation has been deeply involved for over 25 years with Douglas College, the school district here, as well as the Justice Institute of BC. We participate annually in many civic events and take part in many celebrations, meetings, and committees with community organizations and businesses. Our unique story has been told many, many times in the National Film Board award-winning documentary called A Tribe of One, in the Royal City Record, as well as Burnaby Now, featured on CBC, CTV National, and the Vancouver Sun, and even the Globe and Mail. And after all that, I'm still surprised to have people approach me and say, I never knew. That shows just how much work is still needed to be done. But we are hopeful, we are optimistic, we are resilient, and we are still here, and believe we have a lot to offer environmentally, economically, artistically, and socially. Graduates, during these difficult past 2 years, you have persevered, persisted with your studies, and never gave up. That is something to be very proud of. My wish for each of you is that you have a safe, healthy, and happy life, as well as a successful career in the workplace. Let's hope that we get back to normal soon so you can accomplish and realize all of your hopes and dreams. Congratulations, graduates of 2022. Thank you. Qayqayt CM. Qayqayt.
I am Dr. Aaron Johannes, and so honored to be here on the unceded territory of the Qayqayt people. My grandfather and his family are from the Garden River Métis settlement. I'm excited to be here with one of our former Indigenous Pathway students.
Hi, my name is Shanice Angus, and this is my daughter Skyana. And thank you, Aaron, for acknowledging the traditional territories we're doing this work on. I am from the Nisga'a and Tsimshian nations, but was born and raised on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We are here today to present the late Lillian Howard with Douglas College's highest honor to become a Fellow of the College. Lillian was a member of the Muchwat and Muchalt First Nations and is of Nuchonalt, Qayqayt, and Qayqayt ancestry. She worked for organizing from the local to the national level as an organizer, coordinator, researcher, executive manager, advisor, and co-chair. Lillian was an Aboriginal social and environmental justice advocate, a residential school survivor, and she was an integral part of the Truth and Reconciliation work and the walk for reconciliation. You could read more about her many accomplishments in the attached biography, but we'd like to tell you about the impact she had at Douglas College.
Something I love about teaching at Douglas College is that we bring together many different cultures and generations to share interests and passions as people work on their certificates, diplomas, and degrees. And I see students graduating changed not just by their confidence in new skills, but a shared sense of our humanity and belonging. In our Indigenous Pathway courses, which are part of the Faculty of Applied Community Studies, Elder Lillian Howard was such an important part of these conversations for us. She believed in education for Indigenous people. A story we love to have her tell was about how she returned later in life to get her master's degree from Royal Roads. "If I can do it, you can do it," she would say, and I would watch the students' eyes light up. I first met Lillian at a big healthcare training event where I was one of the facilitators and she was asked to provide a territorial acknowledgement and prayer. She was given 3 minutes. She took 20, and she talked about the history of Indian hospitals and how the values of truth and reconciliation resonated in healthcare for Indigenous people. I went up later and thanked her, and then I went home and I told my partner I had met a woman that I wanted to follow anywhere. And it was such a gift a couple of years later when my work at Douglas College gave me an excuse to call and ask her for help. It was the first of many calls, and she never said no.
Like Douglas College, Lillian worked for most of her life around these ideas of reciprocity and the shared respect. As an academic institution, the importance of having integrity in all we do is a primary value, and this was a value that was part of Lillian's teaching. We cannot move forward until we have shared truths, and Lillian knew this meant sitting together as long as necessary.
Lillian worked on behalf of her people towards better understanding and mutual respect. She was an excellent storyteller and teacher and dedicated to so many, but particularly to youth, both as groups and as individuals. In Greater Vancouver, she was a force for supporting urban Indigenous youth and families by facilitating groups ranging from City Hall to the Vancouver Police to folks in the downtown East Side. Given her busy schedule, I was always impressed by how she would ask after individual students that she had met here. And then I was equally impressed when students would message me after a class with her to say how one of her deeply honest conversations had changed their lives for the better. Respectful listening to our elders is a value of Indigenous pedagogy, and I learned to trust it completely with Lillian. I once worked with her on a presentation about something, and when she came to our class, she would have been moved by her experience of the day to talk instead about addiction within families. And half of the students messaged me afterwards to say how important and transformational that conversation was for them.
Lillian answered our call for an elder who would support our Indigenous pathway students in some of the more difficult parts of their learning. She constantly gave us a sense of our cultural context and our belonging, not only historically, but she brought us home with her sharing of her language, vulnerabilities, stories, and leadership. The examples she set reminded us all, students and instructors and community, that this is important and necessary work. She talked about how being assertive can be frightening, but it is important to say what's necessary to stand by it. And she shared stories of entering rooms where people with a great deal of power who had historically treated Indigenous people badly were gathered, and she was the only Indigenous person. "I might be a quiet person," she said, "but I can be assertive." Her dedication to what we are doing here at Douglas College and her positive feedback and clear critiques were inspiring us all. She spoke to us in ways that allow for both healing and aspiration. She was also a great fan of Dave Seaweed, as we all are.
We are so grateful for the permission of Lillian's family to confer this honor posthumously, and for Douglas College accepting our proposal to honor her. We know she would be thrilled. We appreciate the good work she did here in so many ways, working with our students, presenting, leading conversations, imparting traditional teachings, supporting our instructors, leading us in ceremony, chairing and being an important partner of our advisory council, and standing as an elder in residence with Indigenous Student Services, and in general, inspiring us all and giving us a standard to aspire to. Miigwech.
Qayqayt.
On behalf of the Douglas College Board, it brings me great joy and honor to congratulate you, class of 2022. Over the past few years, what you've proven is that seemingly ordinary students can do extraordinary things. Through the pandemic, you embraced the uncertainty with grace. You supported one another with empathy. You helped build a community with each other. While receiving a quality education, together you achieved so much. And now, you're about to become proud Douglas College alums. Soak in this day, as it's your day to celebrate the accomplishments and the relationships you formed here at Douglas. Today is your day to rejoice among friends, family, and loved ones. We all applaud you for completing this milestone in your lives. As you embark on the journey of tomorrow with purpose, along with the tools and skills gained here, you will have the opportunity to serve. Our communities, our cities, our countries are waiting for talented and dedicated people to take the lead in helping others. While you're on this honorable charge, know that the Douglas College Board is very proud of you, and we are all rooting for you. Make sure you stay connected, be well, and congratulations.